Sri Lanka is a beautiful country with a rich history and culture, but it is currently facing a major humanitarian crisis. Many people are wondering how this country, which was once on the path of growth and development, ended up in such a dire situation. In this video, we're going to be taking a closer look at the factors that led to Sri Lanka's economic decline and how it affected the lives of its citizens and how it could lead to the downfall of the entire country. The story of Sri Lanka's economic decline is a complex one, with several factors at play. One of the main reasons is the country's heavy debt burden. Sri Lanka has been borrowing heavily for many years, and this has led to a high debt to GDP ratio, which makes it difficult for the country to invest in necessary infrastructure and services. The country has been dependent on loans from international organizations, bilateral and multilateral creditors, and has been facing a high debt servicing cost that has put pressure on the government's budget. Another major factor is the lack of foreign investment. Sri Lanka has struggled to attract foreign investors due to political instability and a lack of confidence in the country's economy. This has led to a shortage of jobs and a lack of economic growth. Not to mention, it hasn't been that long since they got out of a civil war. The country has also been facing a trade deficit, which means the country is importing more goods than it is exporting, leading to a balance of payments crisis. The country's high inflation rate is another factor that's not helping their current situation. High inflation rate makes it difficult for people to afford basic goods and necessities, and it also makes it difficult for businesses to charge in the local currency. This has been seen in the Zimbabwe hyperinflation and in the Venezuelan hyperinflation, and Sri Lanka could be next if they don't stop this soon. The country has been facing high food and fuel prices, which has led to a reduction in purchasing power and a decline in the standard of living. The high inflation rate is also a result of the monetary policy measures taken by the central bank to curb the balance of payments crisis. But as history has taught us, printing money does not mean that there is more money. It just means that the money is now worth less than it was before. Now, to give the government some credit, they have taken measures to address the crisis, such as implementing austerity measures and seeking assistance from the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF, and other international organizations. However, these measures have not been sufficient to address the underlying issues that have led to the economic crisis. It's also important to note that this video is not meant to be a political statement, but rather an informative overview of the facts behind the economic crisis in Sri Lanka. The country is facing a complex economic crisis, as we mentioned before, and there is no easy solution to the problem. It will require a multifaceted approach, which includes addressing the underlying structural issues, implementing reforms, and creating a conducive environment for economic growth. In conclusion, the economic crisis in Sri Lanka is a result of a combination of factors such as heavy debt, lack of foreign investment, high inflation, and political instability. These factors have led to a decline in living standards and a rise in poverty for the people of Sri Lanka. It's crucial for the government and the international economy to work together to find solutions to the crisis and help the country to get back on the path of growth and development. Thank you so much for watching this video, and please subscribe.